Hello! Welcome to another smashing episode of Beyond the Plate, where Chef Amrita Raichand is the main hero and I play second fiddle.
Rubbish.
Well, it ought to be that way because it's a show based on food. She creates it and I consume it.
I was just going to say, food can't be complete without a real consumer, right? And you do that job so well.
Oh, listen, but this is just so amazing. This is what I've been waiting for. All these episodes for us to talk about the nation's passion, which is chaat.
I know.
Come on, Amrita.
Hardly the time to talk about chaat this early in the morning, but hey, it is a very important one to talk about because frankly, it's every gastronomer's favorite. Okay. It does get an unfair treatment. We're going to talk about that a little later, but we must literally discuss how chaat came about, why is it called chaat, and the fact that, just like in India, every 100 kilometers, the dialect or the language changes. Believe me, even the ingredients of a chaat does.
Yeah, I mean, I had chaat in Lucknow and Kanpur where there's desi ghee in it.
Yeah.
And there's no concept of desi ghee in chaat in Bombay.
Yep.
The masala bhel or even the pani puri, there's no concept of desi ghee. So I really understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and in fact, talking about pani puri, you know how many names we have of pani puri? For every different region, the name is different. It's the same thing, though it does not taste the same, I must add. But the names are different. Of course, in the Western India, it's called pani puri. Then in the North, it's golgappa. And there in East, it is
puchka.
Absolutely right.
I love the puchka.
Yeah.
And especially they give something called churmur at the end of it, which is like the sukha. You know what the pani puri wala gives you a sukha pani puri at the end? Churmur is that kind of
yeah, and that is the last one. No matter how full you are, you always ask for that extra free churmur or that extra, puchka in the end. But what's interesting, I don't know about your growing up years, Rishi, but when I was in Xavier's, have you heard of this gully called Jaundice Gully?
Come on, it was called Cow Gully.
No.
You gave it some name called Jaundice because there must have been some unfortunate incidents.
No, that was our college mates who gave it Jaundice. And I mean, in spite of it being called Jaundice, and we all know why.
Listen, hold on. Churchgate Station.
Yes.
Fashion Street, in between the two.
Yes.
It's Cow Gully, Amrita.
It's also Jaundice Gully and gets the best chaat. And you know why it was called Jaundice Gully, right? Whoever went there got jaundice.
I don't even want to talk about this when I'm thinking of yummy chaat.
Yeah, I know. And we still had the guts to go in there because the best chaats were available there. Well, I don't know about now. I have to be very honest. I don't really venture into those gullies anymore.
And even the fancy coffee shops in large metros.
I was just coming to that. Yeah. I mean, every amazing restaurant, every store, every cafe has a little separate place for chaat section. Have you been to the Sea Lounge? That's my favorite, by the way, at the Taj. Have you gone there and had the chaats? The evening, if you go there for high tea, it is just outstanding. You have the beautiful sea view and then they give you pani puri, which they charge you an outrageous amount for. But we all still go there once in a while for that little, dip into the chaat world in a fancy setup.
Why would anybody call it chaat in the first place?
So it's quite simple, actually. It's very literally, what does chaat mean? To lick.
Chaatna, yeah.
Yeah, chaatna is licking, right? So every time you have chaat, you're basically licking your fingers or you're licking off the plate. I love how you're
such an anthropologist and you give us all the antecedents of food and how they came about. But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And another terminology is chatpata, right? Something tangy, sometimes khatta. So it could also be an adaptation from there. I mean, these are all theories. Who really knows what happened?
Well, that's the theory on the name. But just like a wonderful episode on Ganesh Chaturthi last time around, where he gave us the origins of Ganpati Bappa's name, told us a bit about his mom and dad, which is Lord Shiva, Parvati ji. I'm sure you have some nugget of history for us talking about how chaat first originated in this country. Let's talk about that.
And you'll never believe it how. We can actually give credit to our Shah Jahan, who made the Taj Mahal.
How many things does he want credit for?
Yeah, I know. And this one, of all things. So actually what happened is in the 16th century, Yamuna water was considered to be contaminated. It was not considered to be, it was contaminated and not fit for direct consumption. I mean, only if Shah Jahan saw the state of our Yamuna today, yeah, he would, have a very different impression of it. So a cholera had broken out then. And Shah Jahan was going mad as to how to really figure this out and how to help his people. So his royal physician, Hakim Ali, suggested mixing water with spices like red chilies, adding some tamarind, coriander, mint, and all of this put together would kill the bacteria. Imagine that's the way first chaat water was created. Of course, after that, the taste developed from there naturally. Who wouldn't, love a chaat water? And various food combinations were created, and from there, just chaat erupted like never before. And like they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. And the Hakims are like the Druids. In the Western world, there's a concept of the Druid, which is why in Asterix and Obelix comics, if something went wrong with you, the Druid would come and give a magic potion. So that's what the Hakims were like. They were conjuring up all these wonderful potions. Yeah. You also have another interesting nugget on chaat, causing a mutiny.
Yeah, can you believe it? That's how people go crazy about something like chaat. So apparently in the British Raj, one high-ranking officer, he took fancy to bail. He ordered his cook, William, to go find the perfect recipe for the same. Now, those days, recipes were not really written down, especially Indian recipes, although I really wish they were. So poor William went from door to door and did not find that perfect recipe and came back and said, sorry, sir, but we're going to stick to French fries for tonight. He was so angry, he actually shot the poor guy. And there was an outbreak. There was a mutiny amongst the barrack soldiers. So, yeah, well, things the love of chaat can do.
Yeah, but, let's finally get down to the brass tacks. Amrita, healthy or not? Is chaat healthy or is chaat not healthy?
Okay, I'm going to turn this question back to you, Rishi. What do you think? Just break the chaat components down and then give me an answer.
Healthy.
Isn't it? You're right. You're actually right. Okay, what all does it have?
I can't be propagating not eating chaat. It's my favorite thing on the planet. But I could have it for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Yeah.
But the fact is that it is actually healthy. I mean, what does it have? It has yogurt. Mostly every chaat has yogurt, right? Yogurt full of calcium, full of protein. Mostly you have sweet potatoes full of fiber, full of vitamin C, full of antioxidants. Then you have chickpeas. Very, very high in protein. I mean, it's...
Some people prefer chickpeas in the pani puri or golgappa or puchka. Some people prefer kacha aloo, which is raw potato.
Yeah, it's not raw. It's boiled.
It's boiled.
It's slightly boiled.
It's a little half mash.
And then they add some... Yeah, that's how you knew the recipe. You also, very often with that potato, you add sprouts also. Again, very healthy, right? So actually, if you look at the components of a chaat, they're all very healthy. What happens is, there are two problems with having a chaat. If you go for all the deep fried stuff, like if you have a tikki chaat, especially in Delhi, now the oil that they're using there again and again and again and again, that is the problem with the tikki. But listen, how much are you going to have? You're going to have one plate of tikki chaat? I mean, come on, don't have your lunch that day or have one roti less. Again, the problem is chaats are so tasty that you can't stop yourself. So you overeat. And finally, usually you have chaats on streets. That sometimes is not as hygienic. Yeah, exactly. So now all these three things put together has given an impression that, oh my God, chaat is unhealthy. Believe it or not, Rishi, very often in our home, if it's raining or it's one of those days where, one of the family members craving chaat, we do like a variety of chaats. We lay it out on the table. Everybody digs in. And that evening or that night, we just skip dinner. So that becomes a nice, amazing, tasty meal which you indulge in. But then you balance the rest of the day out. To answer your question in one word, chaat is actually healthy.
I'm not very proud of this, but I shall now narrate a story.
Please tell us.
Before the pandemic, there was an office Holi party. And Kobad Mobajina, who's our music manager, threw a gauntlet at us and said, why can't we have a Pani Puri eating competition in the office? Since we're having a Holi party. I said, okay. So they called the Pani Puri wala and said, boss, make sure you're well stocked. There will be a Pani Puri eating competition. Now, first guess, who do you think won the Pani Puri eating competition?
He has to be.
Yours
Sitting
truly.
right next to me.
I'm a little sheepish about this, a little ashamed, but would you count me down the number? And this is non-stop, huh?
Non-stop. 25?
51.
Oh my God, that is
So
a
the other
lot.
guy packed up, he went till 50 and then he packed up. I had 51. Then he said, boss, I can't do any more.
Oh
So I
my
said, okay.
God, you won by one.
No.
What?
I could have gone on eating. No. So at the end, there was just two of us who were eating. Everybody else fell by the wayside. After 50, he just clutched his stomach and said, I can't do this anymore. So I said, listen, why should I torture my system further? So I stopped at 51.
But I'm
I wouldn't-
surprised you're saying you could have gone on more.
I think maybe I can do a 58. I could have done about 5 or 6 more at that point.
Wow.
I know
That's
it's not,
quite an appetite.
it's not like Virat Kohli's runs. Something to be very proud of, but that's the story, Morning Glory. Guys, the Ask Amrita section comes up at the fag end of the show, Beyond the Plate. The number is very simple. It's our frequency, the last 3 digits, 943. So remember WhatsApp, 9833 943 943. 9833 943 943. Any question regarding food, nutrition, Chaat, today's theme. We will pick it up or we will answer it, and she answers every single question. So please start asking your questions. And now, I don't know if you're familiar with the format of Beyond the Plate. Very simple. Every Monday, 8:15 a.m., we're on the radio in pure audio terms. Every Wednesday, we're on YouTube of the Radio 1 International channel, the YouTube channel. And in between, on Monday, we also have the lovely Amrita giving her a recipe of the day, which she films at a spanking new wonderful kitchen studio, and she sends it to us. Watch out for the outfit of the week also, because she's now going to carefully curate that too. And that is on at 94.3 Radio 1 India and at Amrita Raichand, our respective pages. There's a longer version of the recipe if you should so fancy watching it on Amrita's YouTube channel.
Yes, and it's called Amrita Raichand, Chef and Beyond. So not just this recipe, you will get all the recipes that we have covered so far on Radio 1. And of course, all my other playlists. There are recipes for children, for toddlers, for adults, healthy recipes for pregnant ladies, post-pregnancy. So there's a plethora of recipes out there. So please do subscribe to it and enjoy the recipes.
Let's go and dive into our recipe of the week. And this is chaat. Are you going to do a particular type of chaat for us, or is it going to be like a potpourri, like a platter?
It is going to be a platter, and believe it or not, I created this for radio. Literally, I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to deconstruct it. And usually people think that chaat is something which is very desi, and it has to be had in a very desi form. Yes, of course, and that's the best way to have it. But sometimes when you're having a little high tea, you've called some people over, you want to serve that tanginess, that chatpataness, but you want to serve it with a little bit of style. And for that is this recipe. I promise you, I made this for a very fancy dinner at my place just last week, and it was just banging hit. So here goes.
So no jaundice gully. This is Amrita's house.
Yes, totally free of jaundice or any other problems of stomach at least. All right. So what is the recipe? I'm calling this a chaat platter. What we're going to do is we're going to make a lot of hunkered at home with simple dahi, which you make at home, or you can use, the curd that you get from the store as well. Just take it and hang it in a thin muslin cloth. Hunkered is very easy to make. All you have to do is just drain out all the excess water from the yogurt, and what is left is a nice thick curd. Then you put this in a bowl and you whisk it with a little bit of salt, pepper. You add some red chili powder, some jeera powder, which is cumin powder. You add some chaat masala powder. These additions are completely up to you, up to your taste. So just make it nice and spicy and tangy. And then take a nice big platter and just spread it on the base. Now, I have a few very exciting things that you can do to add to this platter to make it look exotic and to even feel exotic when you bite into it. So what are we going to do? We're going to take some pineapple slices, grill them, put it aside, let them cool. Then we're going to chop them up, and that's going to be one of our toppings. Then some sweet potato, like I mentioned, extremely healthy. We're going to toss it up in a little bit of ghee, add a little salt, pepper, red chili powder. Again, keep it aside, let it cool. Finally, some chickpeas. So take some boiled chickpeas, put a little ghee or a little butter, and just saute it till they become nice and golden on all sides and crispy and crunchy. In the end, add some salt, pepper, and masalas as usual. Again, cool it and keep it aside. Then you take another bowl and add finely chopped onions, finely chopped tomatoes, some green chilies, some coriander leaves, a little bit of lime juice, salt, pepper, of course, and make a nice little concoction of it. Now comes the best part, assembly. So you've got that hunkered spread on a nice long platter. Then you layer it up. One side pineapple, the sweet potato, what was the third thing I made? Were you paying attention? Chickpeas.
Yeah, chickpeas, yeah.
Oh, you were paying attention. I spoke too soon. And then you intersperse it with all this, the kachumbar that we've made with onions and tomatoes. And then you take some save. You get that ready-made save made with potato or basin. And you just sprinkle it on it. And finally, of course, some freshly chopped coriander leaves. And then you get that save puri wala puri. Okay. That you're going to put on the side. And you're going to dig in to this chaat platter. So it's basically deconstructed everything that goes in a chaat.
That's making me very hungry.
But it becomes like a dip. It's a great thing to have as in your grazing table. Have you heard of that term? Grazing table.
Grazing table.
Yes. So this is a super addition to your grazing table.
Yum-malicious. That's the recipe of the day. Go check it out on Instagram at 94.3 Radio 1 India and at Amrita Raichand. Ask Amrita. We're going to wrap with that. Sakshi. There's a theory, Amrita, where people say if you want to test how hungry you are, you should keep an apple beside you. If you really feel like eating that apple, it indicates you're very hungry. Is it true? What's the logic behind it? Interesting.
Very interesting. And actually, we must dig into the real fact if there is. But to my logical head, what I feel is apple is not like the most exciting fruit, right? It's not the sweetest. It's not the juiciest. Of course, when it's in season, you do get some really good apples too. But, you get the gist. It's not something that you would, on a regular basis, just reach out for. So I think what the theory means is that if that's the only thing you have, and if you're really hungry, you're going to quietly eat it without making a fuss. So I think there could be some truth in it. I really do think so.
Sakshi, I must laud you for your imagination, if nothing else. It's just fabulous. And really, it makes sense even at a practical level. Why just imagination? Because like Amrita said, if you're yearning for that, like really yearning, and it's not even a very exciting fruit, you've only been having it because you're told an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But you still reach for it. You are HUNGRY, lady.
Yes.
Beyond the Plate comes to you every Monday, 8:15 on 94.3 Radio 1 and on Radio 1 International, the YouTube channel, every Wednesday. Amrita, till next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, Rishi. See you all very soon.